going on, YouTube? This is your man Connell, the Tech Savvy Rider. Hey, today is the day after my birthday. I tried to get in a birthday ride, and record it for you all. And I came across some issues that I was just not expecting to happen, but they happened. Yesterday was my 75th birthday. I feel every bit of it, to be honest with you. Those of you that know me know I'm dyslexia, so you can figure that age out yourself. So, but getting back to the story, I'm gonna tell y'all exactly what I found riding my gold wing on my birthday. Y'all stay tuned. It's gonna shock the crap out of you. Stay tuned.
Paul Allen, Perry.
This is my baby. But right now, I am actually kind of, I don't want to say pissed off, but that's the only term that I can think of that is going to fit how I actually feel right now. I'll let y'all know what's going on. Y'all stay tuned. It's Black Flash. I got some electronics work I got to do on it. When it get done, it's gonna shock you because it's gonna be a whole different setup. So y'all stay tuned. GoPro, stop recording. Hi YouTube, hey, just giving y'all a heads up. This is gonna be a storytelling time. Get you prepared for it and let you know exactly. I couldn't believe it myself. For those of you that don't know, Black Flash was not my only motorcycle. Beginning of the year, I bought a 2025 Honda CBR. I gifted it to my son because that's how desperately I wanted someone to ride with me. Now I'll come back to the story of how those two motorcycles, Black Flash and that CBR, which we had at the time named White Lightning. Okay, I'm gonna come back to that story, but to let y'all know exactly what happened yesterday when I was riding for my birthday, got down the highway and started messing with my electronics, and nothing was working. Nothing. Everything from the cameras not charging to whatever type of electronics I have on my motorcycle would just not come on. Everything from the radar detector, because I got everything wired into the bike. Most people use plug and play. No, I actually wired all my electronics back into my bike. But make a long story short, nothing was working. So my birthday ride ended up being a very short trip. I brought the bike back to the house and started stripping down, taking the seat covers, the seats off, all the engine covers, whole 9 yards, trying to figure out what had happened. Come to find out that when the bike went into the shop for repairs, the mechanics had went in and clipped some wires without even informing me that they had to do that. And I mean, they clipped some wires and then turned around and tried to tape them back up, so I wouldn't know that they been into my wiring. And I got to the point where I basically, being honest with you, uh, my next video of Black Flash probably won't be for about another 2 weeks until I can get this wiring back up. But let me tell y'all, this the point I was trying to make is when you go to these dealerships, man, and no matter what's wrong with your bike, if you did some work on yourself on your bike, make sure you check it out before you leave, because they're not going to tell you that they end up tearing something else up so they can fix whatever it is that they was working on. So just giving y'all a heads up. Here it is, a couple of weeks later. I'm finally getting back into the groove of riding my bike, and my electronics wasn't working at all. So just giving y'all a heads up. Check your bike if you take it to the shop, take it to the dealership to get some repairs done. Make sure you fully check that joke out before you leave. Now, let me tell y'all what actually happened with these two bikes. That was the most devastating event this year for me, and I almost completely lost it. Like I said, I gifted the CBR 1000 to my son so I can have a partner to ride with. Now, those of you that know me and my family, me and my son, I've been teaching him how to ride a motorcycle since he was in the age of single digits. So you can go back a couple of years back and you can watch some of those videos of me training him on how to ride his first motorcycle. And here I am sitting on the back of his motorcycle teaching him how to ride. So it's been years now that he's capable of handling a motorcycle. But this CBR 1000 had some power. And I wanted to make sure that he was good to go by training him some more on it. And we had it all down packed, and he was doing so perfect. And then there was an event that came up that was coming up in Tulsa, Oklahoma, dealing with the Black Fest. I can't think of it off the top of my name, but so many people was expecting for me to show up. Black Wall Street, yeah, that's the name of it. And so to be prepared for that 4-hour trip, I was good to go, but I wanted to make sure me and my son was good to go to be able to handle a 4-hour trip to Black Wall Street. So I planned an event for me to go visit my friend in Oklahoma City, which is about an hour and a half. We was gonna get there so he can feel how it, what it felt like to be on a bike for long periods of time, and then turn around, after we, shake my friend's hand and give him a hug, say, hey, thank you. We was gonna come back home. So that's another hour and a half. That's a 3-hour trip that I was planning on training my son on being prepared to make that 4-hour one-way trip to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Now, we get up that morning to go. We packed up everything, got ready to go, and we got down the highway, and Black Flash started acting up. I was already in 5th gear. I was already speed shifting. I was already doing like 65, 70 miles per hour. Going down the highway, and then all of a sudden Black Flash just gives up. It's like there was no power. I turned the throttle, the engine was going, but there was no power was going to the engine. It wasn't moving. So I shift back down, started trying to change the gears again to try to get it going, and nothing. Here I am in 5th gear, and Black Flash was in a limp home mode type, just to get me to a place where enough speed to get me to where I need to go, so I can, put it on the side of the road and come back and pick it up. That's what we was planning on doing. All right, so when the limp home mode kicked in, but first I want to say, have y'all ever heard of a Gold Wing already in 5th gear you're already doing 70 or 80 miles per hour, and then the bike just automatically kick off. I felt like it was some type of electronic pulse that was hit that was aimed at my motorcycle, and it shut my engine completely down. It hit my ECU and shut it down. Now I do know for a fact that law enforcement, and I'm not gonna say which branch or which agency or whatever, I do know for a fact they have that type of equipment uh, dealing with motorcycles, and if they would believe that the person on a motorcycle is trying to get away, they can shut that motorcycle down. So all these videos y'all be seeing about a guy running away on a motorcycle, if those law enforcement actually wanted him, uh, they can shut that motorcycle down and then just slowly creep until that motorcycle come down to a halt, and they just pick him up. So these videos y'all watching about jokers running away and got away on a motorcycle, period, it's not true. Because if they really want you, they'll get you. Now, here's the messed up part about the whole thing. Black Flash came to a limp home state, and I drove about a good 2 or 3 miles to a near gas station. We parked it, and when we parked it, I locked it up and everything. And I'm looking at my son like, man, we got to get this bike back to the house. And it was no way that both of us was going to be able to, get back to home unless both of us was getting on his motorcycle and ride back. Okay. The problem was my son, even though I trained him, he was in fear of me riding on the back of his motorcycle because he was still in the training mode of getting used to that type of power. So I was like, don't worry, I grabbed my helmet, I jumped in on his motorcycle, and he jumped on the back. And the minute we started taking off, he buried his head on the back of he buried his head on my back. And I started reminiscing of when he was little, he used to ride on the back of the Goldwing. That's what he used to do was bury his head in my back because he was so scared of riding. And he did the exact same thing when both of us got on that CBR 1000. But we made it back, made it back to Lawton. And I had this bright idea. Hey, I'm going to go ahead and stop at the U-Haul place, and I want you to go back on your motorcycle, get back to the house, and drop off your motorcycle, come to this U-Haul. I already have it rented. We'll connect the U-Haul to the truck and then go back and pick up Black Flash. So I'm in there ordering the U-Haul for the Goldwing. And about a good 10 minutes into me getting everything set up, I get a call on my cell phone from the police. The police, as soon as I answer the phone, I was like, is this Mr. Luckett? I was like, yes, this is. How can I help you? I'm sorry to inform you, but your son just had an accident. He's in the middle of the street, and we're waiting on the ambulance to come pick him up. A tear just instantly ran down my face. I just knew he was dead. I just knew it. I don't know if YouTube is gonna let me say that, so I'm gonna say I already knew he was gonna be resting in peace once I get on scene. Now here it is. He's supposed to be picking up the truck. I'm stuck at the U-Haul, and my wife is at work. So I turn around. No, the police turn around after I told him, hey, I'm stuck at the U-Haul place waiting on my son to come pick me up. I don't have no way to get to the scene. So they turn around and call my wife. My wife is at work, and they tell her what happened. Your son had an accident, blah, 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 whatever. And she just instantly dropped everything. I don't think she told anybody. She just left. She called me when she was in the car crying. What happened? What happened? I said, I don't know. But don't go to the scene by yourself. I said, come and pick me up, and then we'll go together. Now, the whole time I'm waiting on her to pick me up, You know, before I left Black Flash in the parking lot, I know I done strapped, grabbed all my, y'all know I keep my stuff on my motorcycle. Ain't no sense in me letting y'all know exactly what I keep on it, because those that know me know. So I got all my stuff, loaded up on me and ready to go. So when she come to pick me up, we get in the car and she instantly started bawling. I was like, I ain't got time to this. I don't want to hear what you talking about. Let's go find out what happened. But I can tell you for a fact, if my son is laying in that freaking street, resting in peace, everybody around there watching him is going to be right down the street with him. Because I didn't know what happened. I didn't care to know. I just not better arrive on the scene knowing my son is resting in peace in the middle of the highway. Okay. So we finally get on scene and my son is gone. The ambulance and picked him up, everything. I'm hot. Tears running down my face. I don't know what's going on. And then here I am trying to calm my wife down when I'm upset. Okay. The police comes up to me and say, we need someone to pick up your son's motorcycle. We pulled it out the street, but it looked like it's been damaged. Can you take it home? I said, the motorcycle's not a problem. Where is my son? What happened? Then he started going into the detail about two elderly women driving a car, and they came into an intersection, and the other vehicle, ran over my son. Okay, I instantly just got hot. I said, whoever these two women are, I don't care if they granny, grandma, grand goose. I didn't care. They was gonna be joining that hospital with my son. But police officers said, hey, we don't know what actually happened. He started trying to talk as if my son was the one that was in fault of the accident. And I'm looking at him like, that's my son. I taught him how to ride. So if he's laying in the street due to a motorcycle accident, whoever hit him is at fault. I don't want to hear about it because he was on a motorcycle, it's automatically his fault. I said, I know better than that. In fact, stop talking to me, give me my son's motorcycle, tell my wife where he at so she can go see what's going on, so I can get this motorcycle back to the shop. Back to the house. So here I am driving his motorcycle back to the house. From what I could tell, I'm glad I had rode it before the accident happened, because then it was a comparison of what I was feeling or how it was riding afterwards. Okay. The motorcycle didn't have no footrest for the left side, so when you change the gear, your foot was hanging off the motorcycle. Okay. There was some type of weird exhaust sound. Something was going on. So, like I said, it was a comparison. I was like, this bike is total. Even though it don't look like it, I know it's gonna be total. So I get the bike home, come to the house, and I'm just thinking about my son. What happened? If my wife got to that hospital and he has passed away, I'm thinking the worst. All right. A couple of minutes later, about a good 30 minutes or so of me sobbing, trying to figure out what's going on. Nobody's answering the phone. My wife pulls up with my son in the car. He runs up to me, gives me a hug, both of us crying, and I'm hugging him like, I don't know what happened, but you're here. This some gun, first thing he asked me was, how's the motorcycle? I instantly started smiling when he said that, because that was the first thing I asked my dad when I came out of a coma from me having my accident. He said that was the very first thing I said, where's my bike? So it brought a smile to my face that he was as hard of a rider as I am, and he was into loving his bike. But I was hugging him so hard, so tight, that I was like, hey man, That bike can be replaced. I'm just glad you're here. All right, here it is. A couple of weeks later, we was fighting over the insurance company of her insurance, trying to figure out who was at fault, all this and all that, and they were still trying to blame my son. I said, nope. I said, y'all gonna get some witnesses, whoever was at the scene, whatever it's gonna take. I know my son was not at fault. So all these, so-called my Allstate agent, her adjuster agent for her insurance company, all of them got together and they came up with the conclusion that it was all the other vehicle's fault. Okay, but it took me months. That's a whole nother story. It took me months on actually getting them to actually pay that motorcycle off. I told y'all that story to tell you that, hey, motorcycle accidents, no matter who you are, how good you are. I even brought this up before in one of my previous videos. A motorcycle rider cannot brag about not having an accident. It is not a so-called, what latest word they're using. It's not a flex that you never had a motorcycle accident. That's not a flex. You never having a motorcycle accident is just being honest with you. At some point, it's gonna happen. So just be prepared. Only thing I can say about everything that has happened is I'm glad I took the time to train my son. I'm glad I took the time to retrain myself. Now, yeah, I get on the motorcycle and just act as wild just as the next young man. But I got some experience behind it. And I'm glad I had shared my experience with him so he could recover from his accident. Now, the motorcycle has been totaled. It's paid off. And now that I'm retired, I was like, hey, man, the only way we're going to be able to get another motorcycle is, doing these so-called cuts and stuff that's going on. You're going to have to, go ahead and get you a job, and I'm going to, help you out. But, I don't have that finance to go get a new motorcycle like I used to, because I'm retired now. But I just wanted to share that story with y'all and to let y'all know 2 points here. One, after your motorcycle, go to a shop, get it checked out before you actually load it up or call yourself riding off from the shop. Check out everything that you can possibly check out. And two, if you have siblings, a wife, you're riding and you have a son that's trying to learn how to ride, whatever your family situation is on whoever that rider is, it is your responsibility to make sure that whoever is riding a motorcycle, that you train them proficiently enough that you know that everything's going to be okay for them being on the road on a motorcycle. Train them well, and you'll be so glad that you did. So other than that, hey, I'm back down to one motorcycle again, Black Flash. Like I said, now going back to the story, when I pulled the covers off, I see that they had went and snipped my wires and didn't bother to tell me. So now I got to go back in and trace all these wirings down on my motorcycle to bring it back up so all my electronics can start working again. I shared that story with you. I hope I enlighten you and let you know Black Flash was not actually involved in an accident. It went down due to some unknown situation. But when I went and picked the bike up, because the repairs are done, the mechanics told me the clutch went out. I'm like, the clutch is not going to stop the power for the engine. That engine was not getting any power at all. So that's have y'all. My question is, have y'all ever heard of a situation where a motorcycle is already in fifth gear, you're not already doing 70 to 80 miles per hour, and it just shuts down on you? Period. I never heard of that. Never. Even if the clutch had went out, I still should have been able to turn the throttle and feel some power. I didn't feel anything. It was like my ECU was shot, and that was it. But when I went to go pick the bike up for repairs, because the repairs are done, it was the so-called clutch. So just giving y'all a heads up. Hey, hit me up in the comment section and let me know if that's even possible. Because here it is, months later, and I'm still trying to figure out exactly what happened. I'm not an engine person, but I definitely know about electronics, and I think my ECU was hit with something. So let me know what y'all think. That's my spiel for the day, YouTube. Y'all have a good one. GoPro, stop recording.